بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم على عبده ورسوله محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وبعد أحييكم إخواني وأخواتي بتحية الإسلام فأقول السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته وأهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم مرة أخرى لدروس في اللغة العربية. ها نحن ذا في مسجد كاروني بجزيرة ترينيداد وتوباغو، جمهورية ترينيداد وتوباغو، فنحييكم ونقول أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم، ونستمر في دروسنا في تعليم اللغة العربية، حيث نتعلم القراءة وفهم المسموع وفهم المقروء، وكذلك نتمرن بالتحدث والمحادثة وكذلك الكتابة إن شاء الله تعالى. So today inshallah we would like to continue with our class. In the previous class we were talking about the adverb of time, and we also learned how to tell the time, how to ask the time, and the main thing about telling the time is to memorize that what you call pattern. All right, if you memorize al-fa'ila, then you will know how to tell the time. Al-wahida, right? Al-thaniya, al-thalitha, al-rabi'a, and so on. All right, and then 11 and 12 is a little bit tricky. So 11 o'clock will be as-sa'atul hadiyata ashrata, and 12 o'clock as-sa'atul thaniyata ashrata. Right? And if you want to say quarter past, you just say whatever the time is, al-wahida wa rubu', al-wahida wa nisf, right? Al-wahida illa rub'a, except quarter to. And if it is 20 minutes past, we will say 1/3 past. Al-wahida wa thuluth, al-wahida illa thuluth, illa thulutha, except 1/3. That's 22, the hour, right? And half past is 1 nisf. All right, so basically that is with regards to telling the time. How do you ask the time? كم الساعة؟ كم الساعة؟ أو ما هو الوقت؟ ما هو الوقت؟ كم الساعة is the proper way and the better way. كم الساعة? What is the time? All right, and we have learned some other words which we said they are called adverb of time. All right, many words pointing to time. All right, so you could refer to something happening at a specific time without referring to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 o'clock. You refer to things happening at different timing, like fajran, right? Dhuhran, asran, isha, and so on, right? And sabahan, in the morning, right? At morning, masa'an, naharan, during the day, laylan, during the night, right? Masa'an is in the evening, right? All of those times. Mubakkiran, early, mutaakhiran, late, right? And many other words we have looked at, inshallah. I hope, inshallah, that you can remember them. All right, so whenever we talk about adverb of time, we also talk a little bit about adverb of place. Now, I would have indicated in one of the previous classes about al-jihatu sitta, the 6 directions. Some of the scholars would have classified these words into a different category, or they call them by a different name. So sometimes they may refer to them also as adverb of place. And yes, they are indeed places. And such words are words like fawqa. And all of these words, you would notice they have a fatha at the end of them, right? So it's fawqa, right? And the opposite of fawqa is tahta. Tahta. Right? So I'm writing the words next to each other so that you could also, memorize them like this. Fawq and taht. Fawq, taht. All right? And then you have amama. All right? And you have khalfa. Khalfa. Or wara'a. All right, this is called what? ظرف المكان. ظرف المكان, which is in English we say what? Adverb of place. Adverb of place. ظرف المكان. So these are all places. فوق means above or over. تحت means below or under. أمام means in front of. خلف, behind. And there is another word that is synonymous to the word خلف. It is وراء. All right? وراء. And then you have other places like you have يمينة. يمينة, which means right of. And then you have شمالة. All right? So they have fath on them. Okay? Then you could also have بجواري. بجواري. بجوار means next to or neighboring to. All right? So next to. بجوار. You could also have بين. بين could mean between. Between is between two. And you could have among. And among will be more than two. Right? You have the word بين. Right? So these are all adverb of place. Also you could have the word هنا, meaning here. And then you could have هناك. هناك, there. So here and there. هنا and هناك. And these words are easy to place them in sentences. Right? أنا أمام الفصل. I'm in front of the class. Right? أنتم, you, all of you. أنتم أمام المدرس. You're all in front of the مدرس, the teacher. والمدرس أمامكم. And the teacher is in front of you. All right? الجدار, the wall. خلفكم. The wall is behind you. All right? المروحة, there is a fan above. All right? المروحة فوقكم. All right? The fan is in front of you. والمروحة بجواري. بجوار, next to. المروحة بجوار المدرس. المروحة بجوار المدرس. All right? الأقلام فوق المكتب. الكتب فوق المكتب. All right? So, it's very easy. المروحة, right? يمين المدرس, on the right side of the teacher. All right? المروحة يمين المدرس. المدرس شمال المروحة. The teacher is on the left side of the fan. All right? So you have يمين and شمال, you have أمام, خلف, and so on. These are all words, they are called what? Adverb of place, because they are all places. All right? And what you would notice distinctly about them, they all have a fatha. So they are not really nouns that they carry tanween, but they are adverbs. All right? And they're adverb of place. All right? So فوق, تحت, أمام, خلف, وراء, يمين, شمال, بجوار, بين, هنا, هناك. These four here, these three here might be a little bit different, right? So basically, that's it for Zarful Makan, all right? Just memorize these words and try to put them in sentences, and they are very simple to use. What you would also notice is the noun that comes after any one of them will be in the genitive case. All right, so it's acting as if it is like they construct possessive case, right? When we say فوق المكتب, right, above or on the desk, we say فوق المكتب, right? So فوق will be like, functioning as if it is mudaf. Some people might say it functions as a preposition because it's a different word and it has no connection as the possessive case does, right? When you're talking about the possessive case, the two nouns are associated with each other, right, and connected to each other, right? So anyhow you want to analyze, but the main thing that you have to understand is that when you're using any one of these words, right, the word that comes after will be in the genitive case, with the exception of these two here, huna. All right, because the sentence could stop right here. It doesn't need to put a next word after the word huna or hunaka. All right, so there is no word coming afterwards. So the sentence finishes right there. Okay, so that's it for that. And now we want to go back to the verb. So we have looked at the verb in the perfect tense. We have looked at the verb in the imperfect tense. And we also looked at the imperative form, that is how to form the command, and the negative imperative, right? But as I have mentioned before, the verb is, categorized in so many different categories. And all the time we are still looking at the trilateral verbs, all right? Trilateral verbs. Those are the verbs that have three letters only. So they are called al-thulathi al-mujarrad, the trilateral verbs that are stripped from extra letters. They're only three letters. So if you look at the trilateral verb, L-I-T-E-R-A-L, verb, it could be categorized into different categories, all right? So you could say some of them are sound, and then you have some of them are weak, all right? And some of them could be hamzated, and you may have some of them, they call them doubled, all right? And then the weak is divided into a few different categories, all right? We will talk about all of these different types of verbs, all right? This one, so far, the sung the verbs, all right? We have looked at examples of sung the verbs without I telling you that these verbs were actually sung the verbs. But the reason why they are called sung the verbs, or let's say al-af'al al-sahiha or salima, it means that they're free from any weak letter being inside, or there is no hamza in it, or the second letter and the third one, they're not the same. All right, so the verbs that are free from all of these, the one that is free from all of these here is called the sung verb. So we have been looking at sung verbs so far. All right, so today we would probably look at Hamzated verbs, and if the time permits, we can also look at the doubled verb. All right? And these verbs are categorized in different categories because they somehow or somewhat, differ when it comes to the imperfect tense and also with the command. All right? The command sometimes it's a bit different from the conjugation of the sung verb. All right? So now we'll put the heading as the hamzated verb. All right? We're going to deal with this one first. So what really is meant by the hamzated verb? In Arabic it is called al-fi'lu, which means the verb, and it is called al-mahmuz. Al-fi'lul mahmuz. Sorry. Zu. Al-fi'lul mahmuzu, which means the hamzated verb. And what does that mean, the hamzated verb? Simply, it is a verb that has one of its letters being a hamza. All right? And the occurrence of this hamza could be either the beginning of the verb, or you could probably find the hamza as the second letter of the verb, or you could also have the hamza as the third letter of the verb. All right, so we will look at some examples of such verbs that have hamza. We have the word, let's say, akhadha. Akhadha. Akhadha means he took. He took. T-O-O-K. He took. Akhadha. Akhadha. Now, the conjugation of this verb in the perfect tense, all right, and all the other verbs that we will be mentioning, in the perfect tense, it's the same, exactly the same as the sung verbs. All right, there is no difference in them. All right, but the mere fact that the verb has a hamza as one of its letters is important for us to know these verbs, because when we look at the command will be a little bit different from the sung verbs. All right, so you have to memorize the words and their meanings. So akhadha means he took. Another word that has an alif or a hamza at the beginning is the verb akala. Akala. Akala means he ate. Right? He ate. Akala. Akala. He ate. Amara. Amara means he commanded. He commanded. Amara. And that's how you get the word Amir. Because the Amir, he's the one who commands. And Amir is also a prince. All right? Now, if we want to conjugate the verb, so we say he, akhadha. She will be akhadhat. All right? And then you, akhadhta. And feminine, akhadhti. And I will be what? Yes, akhadhtu. Okay? Akhadhtu. Nice. And then we move to the dual form. It will be what? Akhadha. Akhadha with the alif at the end. And then akhadhata for two female. And then will be, second person will be akhadhtuma. Akhadhtuma for both masculine and feminine. And for the first person, there is no conjugation there. Then we move to the third column. All right, for plural, you have the masculine first, will be akhadhu and then أخذنا. Then أخذتم, أخذتن, and أخذنا. So the same thing goes for all of them. Right? The conjugation, there is no change. In the perfect tense, it's just perfect. Right? Just like the others. Okay? Now, for the imperfect tense, أخذ يأخذ, let me write it in red. يأخذ, all right? أكل يأكل, أمر يأمر. All of them have Dhamma. All right? For the imperfect tense, the middle letter will change to a Dhamma. So يأخذ, all right? And for female, تأخذ. And then if you want for you, all right, masculine, same thing like the feminine, third person singular, تأخذ. And one female, you, all right, تأخذين, تأخذين. And I, instead of saying أأخذ, it will be آخذ. So this is where we have a slight difference. So we have this and this. That's the verb. And this is the present tense aleph for I. All right? So we have that, khudhu. All right? So because we have two aleph coming together, all right, the Arabs, they hate to write it twice. So they write it one time and they put a mad like that. So that means you go ah. Instead of saying ah with a sukoon here, khudhu, it's a little bit, it put a little bit effort in it. So to make it less effortless, you just say ah. Right? It's easy. Khudhu. All right? And na'khudhu. Right? So that's basically for the only change for the first person singular. When the two aleph or the two hamza come together, right? They are turned into one and there is a mad. It is lengthened. All right? That's where there's a slight difference. And when it comes now to the command, there is also difference. And there is a difference there because when you have to make the changes and the different steps that we spoke about, the pronunciation becomes a little bit difficult. So let's examine how that is so. All right, so let me take this away. And now we are going to look at the imperative form of the same type of verb. And the imperative is only about the second person, right? We said before, third person, the one who is absent, you cannot command that person to do anything. Likewise, you do not command the speaker yourself. So you could only command or request someone who you're speaking to. That is the second person, al-mukhatab. All right? So let's say we are talking about the verb akhadha. Akhadha. The imperfect tense is ya khudhu. All right? We are looking at al-mukhatab, which means the second person conjugation. And we have al-mufrad, al-muthanna, and we have al-jam. All right? And we have masculine, and we have feminine. So this is our verb here. All right? So we already mentioned before in a previous class, all of the conjugation that is under al-mukhatab, they all begin with ta. Right? Ta. So let me write the ta in red. So they all begin with ta. All right? These masculine and feminine here in the muthanna column, masculine and feminine is the same thing. All right? So you write it one time. And the masculine here is ta, ta. All right? And here is our verb again. All right? All right? So, the steps that you were told before, how to form the imperative or the command, is to replace the ta with, right, alif. Good. So we're going to replace this ta with the alif. All right? Alif. Alif, alif. And then we were told all of the noons were to drop out, except the noon on this one that remains. So this noon drops out, this noon drops out. And then we look at the middle letter. We are already told that the middle letter is a dhamma. So that is what we're going to choose here. All right? But look what happens now when we have two alif coming together. All right? It becomes very difficult to pronounce. If you want to tell somebody, take, you will have to say what? Oh, khudu, oh, khud, right? And then this here has to turn to sukoon, right? Oh, khuz, oh, khuz. So it's difficult on the tongue. So what the Arabs did, they took all of this out. There's two alif, they took them out completely. All right? To make the job easy on themselves. So what remained? Khud. Khud. All right? Khud. This one is khudhi. Now the ya, remember we said about the ya. The ya is the final letter in the word. So we will change the shape of the ya and write the ya like this. All right? So it is just khudhi. The same dhamma remain. And this will be for muthanna, khudha, khudha. Khudhu, put the alif here, khudhu, and khudna, khudna. So this is basically what remains. Right? So that's it. So that is why the Hamzated verbs had to be categorized in a different category because of the changes that takes place in the in the imperative form. Right? So if you want to tell somebody take, you say what? خذ. خذ. And if you're telling a female to take, you say what? خذي. خذي. خذا. خذا. خذوا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا خذوا حذركم. Or you believe. Take your guard. And خذنا. خذنا if you're telling female. All right? So the same thing goes for amara, all right? And also akala. So perhaps we can follow this and do the same thing for, let's say, akala. Akala. What we have seen here is that we just remain with the second letter and the third letter, and there was a dhamma here and there was a sukoon here. All right? So if we follow the same pattern, we can do the same thing here. All right? If we take away this, we change this to a dhamma because in the present tense, imperfect tense had a dhamma. So that it becomes ku, and the last letter will take a sukoon. So kul. Kul. Kul means eat. Right? And if you're telling a female to eat, you say what? Kuli. Right? Kuli. Kuli washrabi in Surah Maryam. And you have, for the two will be what? Kula. Ya Adam uskun anta wa zawjuka al-jannah wa kula minha haythu shi'tuma. Right? In Surah Al-Baqarah. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created Adam and Eve, and he said, Ya Adam, O Adam, uskun. Right? Uskun. Uskun means stay or dwell. Anta, you, wa zawjuka, and your spouse, al-jannah, wa kula, right? Kula, two of you eat. Minha haythu shi'tuma. Eat from it whatever you want, right? ولا تقرب هذه الشجرة فتكونا من الظالمين. All right, so that's how it is. So use this as a template, and any verb that you see looking like has an alif at the beginning, this is how you will have the command. So amara, there will be mur, muri, or murri, right? Murra, right? Murru, and murna. Murna from amara. All right? Good. So that is when the verb begins with a hamza. Sometimes the hamza could be the second letter of the verb. Example. You all know? Can you give me an example of a verb that has the hamza as the second letter? Second letter of the verb is hamza. Yes, you all know it. There is a surah from the Quran. Huh? I can't hear you. Right. So we have sa'ala. Sa'ala. Sa'ala means what? To ask. To ask. Sa'ala sa'ilun bi'adhabin waqi'. So here we are noticing the second letter of the verb, hamza. Right? If we have to conjugate this verb in the perfect tense, we follow the same pattern, the same conjugation as we have done for the previous ones. It follows the same pattern like the sound verbs. All right? And the imperfect tense also, it goes the same way. All right? So, yes, alu. Present tense, sa'ala. Yes, alu. Fatha. Okay? So, yes, alu. He, huwa, yes, alu. She will be tas'alu. You, one person, tas'alu. You, female, tas'alina. I, as'alu. And then we go to the dual column. All right? Yas'alani, tas'alani. All right? Tas'alani. All right? And then we have the third person, yas'aluna. All right? And we have yas'alna. And then we have tas'aluna and tas'alna and nas'alu. Command. We want the command now. All right? So let's look at the command. We have, that's the verb. All right? And then we have tas'alu. And if it is a female, it will be what? Tas'alina. This is masculine. This is feminine. This is the singular. The singular column. And then we'll have the dual column here. And we'll have the plural column here. All right? All of them begin with ta. 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 All right? Dual column. Tas. A. La. Ni. And here is what? Tas. A. La. Ni. Tas. Aluna. And tas. Al. Na. Right? So we replace the ta with the alif. Replace the ta. So we are following the steps, step by step. Remove the, right? Ta. And we replace it with alif. Okay? We're dropping out the noons, except the noon on niswa. All right? And if the middle letter is not a dhamma, we just put a kesra, right? As long as it is not a dhamma, you put a kesra for the beginning. So the command is what? Is'al. Is'al. But now, is there any change when comparing with the sound verb? There is no change. But there is a flexibility in the command. You can either say is'al, or you could also say sal. Just sal. So the hamza is dropped out. So it's either is'al or you can say just sal. In Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, Sal Bani Isra'ila Kam ataynahum min ayatin bayyina. Ask, right, the children of Israel, how many signs we have given them. All right, they want all kinds of this, show me that and that, and when they get everything, still not believing. All right? So that's how it is. So this goes like that. The ya will change the shape. All the noons out. All right. Noons out. So, is'ala, is'ala. Or, here we have the ya here. Is'ali, is'al, is'ali, is'ala, is'ala, is'alu, is'al, na. Right? Is'alu. Right? Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told his daughter Fatima, he said, "Ya Fatima, sali," right? Not isali, but he said, so you have sal, which is masculine, and the feminine will be what? Sali. Sali means you, female, ask. So he said to her, Salini. Salini. What that means? Ask me. Very good, ahsant. Salini min mali ma shi't. Salini min mali, my wealth. Ma shi't. Whatever you wish, whatever you want. فَإِنِّي لَا أَمْلِكُ مِنَ اللَّهِ أَنْكِ شَيْئًا. For verily, I have no control, right, in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the other things that you do. Right? So you have Sal Bani Israel, and you have Sali. Alright? And you could also have Salah, and Salu, and Salna. Okay? So there is a flexibility of the verb, which has the alif at the middle. Alright? Hal fahimtum? You all understand? Alright? So that's why, again, the Hamzated verb is a little bit different. And sometimes you could have the Hamza coming at the end of the verb. Alright? Example. Can you give me an example of a verb where the Hamza is the last letter of the verb? Huh? That is the last letter of the verb. I'm writing backwards now. Huh? قرأ. All right? قرأ. Okay? قرأ. قرأ means he read. Look at the conjugation. If you want to say two males read, it will be what? قرأ. We have this here, and we'll have an alif there. Right? So that will become like this. قرأ. 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 Like that. Two of them come together, and it is lengthened one time, and there is a mad over it. قرأ. Alright? And then you have قرأوا. The present tense or the imperfect tense of قرأ is يقرأ. يقرأ. So he reads. It will be what? يقرأ. يقرأ. And she reads will be تقرأ. So we have to learn the conjugation good, right? So she is تقرأ, and you, masculine singular, تقرأ, you feminine. تقرأين أقرأ, I read, I am reading. أقرأ, I will read. سأقرأ. All right? And you move to the dual column. يقرآن, تقرآن, تقرآن. And we go to the plural column. Right? يقرؤون, يقرأن, تقرؤون, تقرأن, نقرأ, and so on. All right? So if you remember, the pattern and you know how to conjugate the verb, that shouldn't be any problem. So for the verb قرأ, there is nothing really that is different from the sung verb. But in as much as, we are looking at the Hamzated verb, and we look at the verb starting or beginning with a Hamza, and the Hamza at the beginning and the Hamza in the middle, we also look at an example of the verb where the Hamza is the last. All right, but in terms of changes and so on and difference, there isn't any difference with this one. But we have seen the difference for if the verb begins with the Hamza or if the Hamza is the middle letter or the middle radical. All right? So when the letter is in the middle, the Hamza is in the middle, you have that flexibility of doing it, asking the question two ways. You could either say is'al or you could just say sal. All right? And if the Hamza is at the beginning, the two Hamzas were dropped out and we just remain with two letters of the verb. So khudh, khudhi, khudha, khudhu, and khudna. Ya bani Adama, khudhu zinatakum, khudhu zinatakum inda kulli masjid. Take your adornment at every masjid. All right? So that means you mustn't, when you come into the house of Allah, you must dress properly. Okay? So that is for the Hamzated verb. All right? So it's called in Arabic al-fi'lul mahmuz. Mahmuz means it has a Hamza in it. All right? We also have the other verb, which I think the time may not permit. Right? We just have about 10 minutes or so. All right? So then what you need to do is, just look for examples in the Quran of such verbs. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala always tells us about eating, kulu min tayyibati ma razaqnakum. All right? All of you eat of the good things that we have given you. Right? Kulu. And you have kul. And when you're pronouncing the word, this kul, careful not to mix it up with this qul. So qul means say, but this one is kul, which means eat. All right? So if you if you do not pronounce the word properly, right, you could have a difference in meaning. I remember when we were students so long ago, more than 40 years ago, about 50 years ago, we learning Arabic in Medina. And one of the students said, "Ya Ustaz, kul lana." So eat for us, but he wanted to say, "Tell us," right? But he said, "Kul." So the teacher said, "No, I didn't come here to eat anybody." All right? So when you're speaking, you have to be very careful of how you pronounce. This cough here comes from the upper part of your throat. All right? So it's qul, qul. Whereas this one is from the lower part, right? Flat. Kul, kul. All right? Right. Maybe we can read a little bit here from Dr. Fa Abdul Rahim's book. And we read also one page from Al-Arabiyya Bayna Yadayk. All right, so you listen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And Zainab responds to that is, وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. من أنتن يا أخوات؟ من أنتن يا أخوات? Who are you? She's talking to a group of females, right? So she said, Ya akhawat, oh sisters. Man antuna ya akhawat? So one of them said, إحداهن said, نحن بنات الشيخ عباس. نحن بنات الشيخ عباس. Zainab said, قالت زينب, أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا. أمكن أستاذتي. أمكن, your mother, all of you, your mother. أستاذتي is my teacher. كيف حالها? كيف حالها? How is her condition? How is she? All right? One of them said, هي بخير والحمد لله. She said, زينب, قالت زينب, أين هي الآن؟ أين هي الآن؟ إحداهن, قالت إحداهن, هي الآن في الرياض. هي الآن هي الآن في الرياض. قالت زينب, متى ذهبت؟ متى ذهبت? When did she go? قالت إحداهن, one of them said, قالت إحداهن, one of them said, ذهبت قبل أسبوع. ذهبت قبل أسبوع. She went before a week. That means she went a week ago. ذهبت قبل أسبوع. قالت زينب, من ذهب معها؟ من ذهب معها؟ إحداهن, قالت إحداهن, ذهب معها أخونا إبراهيم. ذهب معها أخونا إبراهيم. قالت زينب, كيف حالكن؟ كيف حالكن؟ قالت إحداهن, نحن بخير والحمد لله. قالت زينب, في أي مدرسة أنتن؟ في أي مدرسة أنتن؟ قالت إحداهن, نحن في المدرسة المتوسطة. نحن في المدرسة المتوسطة. Right, primary school. قالت زينب, متى اختباركن؟ متى اختباركن? When is your examination? قالت إحداهن, اختبارنا بعد شهر. اختبارنا بعد شهر. قالت زينب, أذهبتن إلى المدرسة اليوم؟ أذهبتن إلى المدرسة اليوم؟ قالت إحداهن, نعم ذهبنا ورجعنا. ذهبنا ورجعنا, and we returned. We went and we returned. All right, so one more time, مرة ثانية. السلام عليكم. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. من أنتن يا أخوات؟ نحن بنات الشيخ عباس. نحن بنات الشيخ عباس. أهلا وسهلا ومرحبا بكم. أمكن أستاذتي، كيف حالها؟ هي بخير والحمد لله. أين هي الآن؟ هي الآن في الرياض. متى ذهبت؟ ذهبت قبل أسبوع. من ذهب معها؟ ذهب معها أخونا إبراهيم. كيف حالكن؟ نحن بخير والحمد لله. في أي مدرسة أنتن؟ نحن في المدرسة المتوسطة. متى اختباركن؟ اختبارنا بعد شهر. أذهبتم إلى المدرسة اليوم؟ نعم ذهبنا ورجعنا. So I think you have understood that. And lastly, we will read from Al-Arabiya Bayna Yadayk. We spoke about time in the previous class, and this lesson also has about some things about time. متى تستيقظ يوم العطلة؟ متى تستيقظ? Wake up. متى تستيقظ? When do you wake up? يوم العطلة, on holidays. يوم العطلة. أستيقظ مبكرا. أستيقظ, that means I wake up. أستيقظ مبكرا. ومتى تستيقظ أنت؟ ومتى تستيقظ أنت؟ أستيقظ متأخرا. أستيقظ متأخرا. ماذا تفعل في الصباح؟ ماذا تفعل في الصباح؟ أشاهد التلفاز. أشاهد I look at تلفاز television. وماذا تفعل أنت؟ وماذا تفعل أنت؟ أقرأ صحيفة أو كتابا. أقرأ صحيفة أو كتابا. I read papers or a book. الصحيفة could also mean a journal. أين تصلي الجمعة؟ أين تصلي الجمعة؟ أصلي الجمعة في المسجد الكبير. وأين تصلي أنت؟ أصلي في المسجد الكبير أيضا. أصلي في المسجد الكبير أيضا. Also. Alright? متى تستيقظ يوم العطلة؟ أستيقظ مبكرا. ومتى تستيقظ أنت؟ أستيقظ متأخرا. ماذا تفعل في الصباح؟ أشاهد التلفاز. وماذا تفعل أنت؟ أقرأ صحيفة أو كتابا. أين تصلي الجمعة؟ أصلي الجمعة في المسجد الكبير. وأين تصلي أنت؟ أصلي في المسجد الكبير أيضا. أصلي في المسجد الكبير أيضا or أيضا. Alright? So you could ask people what time they go at a certain place. Alright? في أي ساعة تذهب إلى المدرسة or متى تذهب إلى المدرسة. أذهب, you could say أذهب إلى, you could say أذهب إلى المدرسة في الساعة السابعة. So you could either say في الساعة السابعة. All right, because of في. And if you want to leave out the في, you will say أذهب, and leaving out the في, الساعة السابعة. If you're leaving out the في. Right? أذهب الساعة السابعة. الساعة السابعة. If you put في, you will have to في الساعة. So it means at. I go at 7 o'clock. All right, just go. Here, الساعة السابعة means also 7 o'clock. So you have the option of either saying في, or you could leave out the في. All right? All right, so if you have Al-Arabiya bayna yadayk, inshallah, you can read from page 90. All right? I read from page 86. أنا قرأت من صفحة 86 وأنتم تستطيعون أن تقرأوا كذلك من نفس الصفحة. طيب، وإن شاء الله إذا ما عندكم هذا الكتاب إن شاء الله سوف نصور الصفحات ونرسلها إلى المجموعة. We will take pictures of the pages إلى الصفحات ونرسلها, and we will send them إلى المجموعة, to the group. Inshallah. All right? And this is our end for today's class. Jazakumullahu khairan. Until we meet next time, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.